What's going on, guys? Jake Boley with BarBend.com. Today we're going to be doing a performance and a review of the Reebok Speed TR cross-training shoe. Back in 2015, Reebok introduced the corduroy material to their CrossFit line and some of their shoes designed for CrossFit style workouts. The Reebok Speed TR is kind of that hybrid model in between the hardcore cross-training shoe with the Reebok Nano and then something that you'd go running in that has a squishier outsole. This outsole is made to be a little bit more on the friendlier side for having a little bit more cushion and cushioning heel strikes, but it's still made to be stable to resist different workouts such as like rope climbs, box jumps, stuff that you do in a normal CrossFit style workout. In this review, we're gonna do a performance test. We're gonna look at the pros, cons, and price that come along with the Reebok Speed TR. Okay, so now some construction features worth mentioning on the Reebok Speed TR. First is the material. They use the Reebok corduroy material, which is kind of in a highly abrasive material. It's meant to stretch, it's meant to be flexible, and it's meant to resist things like rope climb. There's a nice piece of leather that extends off the toe here. I think that could be a good feature for any kind of toe driving movement. So let's say you're doing like a box jump burpee and you're dragging your toe behind you. I think this will be good at resisting long-term wear and tear. There's a reinforced heel clip back here. It doesn't protrude off the shoe, similar to the Nano and other cross-training shoe models on the market. It's kind of enclosed within, and as you can see, it kind of lays flat with the rest of the shoe. The material here is pretty see-through and it's durable. You can actually probably see my finger through. It's a nice lightweight. There's not much going on in that respect. The tongue is pretty thick. It has a pretty wide build. I like that personally. Nothing is more annoying than getting the tongue balled up while you're working out. So I think having a wider tongue is a nice feature as well. The inserts here on the shoes, there's 6 going up and they lay over the tongue, so you can really pull that shoe tight. And there's a lot of shoestring that come along with the shoe, which is a nice touch if you like to really pull tight and double knot your shoes. There's an EVA midsole down here, which is a little bit more squishy than other cross-training models like the Nano. The outsole on the back is pretty, as you can hear it, I think it's going to be able to hold up under heavy movements pretty well. And the outsole down here on the end, there's a meta split, so it's the metatarsal split. It's meant to give you kind of that natural feeling, that natural reactive feeling when you're doing any kind of jump or run movement. These are designed for like speed training and CrossFit style workouts, so it makes sense why they put that there. There's the wave-like texture down here to provide extra grip, and the waves actually go with the toes, so I think it's kind of a nice touch for any kind of toe driving movements, and especially if you're running. There's a 3mm drop, which is nice for a cross-training shoe to kind of keep you leveled and flat, but also give you a teeny bit of lift, so it feels a little bit more natural when you're going through movements. But I think that's pretty much in a nutshell the construction features worth noting about the Reebok Speed TR. All right, so now we're gonna actually put the shoes on and see how they fit compared to other models I've tried. So one thing you note that are different from these, from like the Reebok Nano, for example, is there is not that outer shell. These are kind of your standard tongue and full foot. There's no separate booty design. The material on the outside is very light. They feel very flexible on the foot. There's a good amount up here in the toes for me to fully splay. I have my toes fully spread and I have plenty of room in there. I don't feel confined whatsoever. The tongue here is a little bit more cushiony. There's 6 eyelets going up, so I think you're gonna be able to pull the shoe nice and tight. And the eyelets have these little outserts here where you can actually pull it over the top of the foot, pull it even tighter. There's ample shoestring. Some cross trainers actually have shorter strings. I like having a little bit extra, so if I want to double knot them just to ensure they don't actually come undone in a workout. But as you can see, pretty flexible shoe, full toe splay up here, and they feel very light and flexible on the foot. All right, so now how did these shoes perform? First and foremost, I'm a size 10, and I thought they fit pretty true. I didn't notice any kind of toe jamming during jumps or sprints, and I didn't really notice any kind of constrictive, narrow feeling on the shoe. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if it's a true fit for you. So if you're a 10, I think you're gonna fit into a 10 well. If you've ever worn a Nano, these fit pretty similar to that. They're not as wide, but they are pretty similar in the terms of the length and how they actually fit into the toe. For the performance test, I did lateral movements, sprints, box jumps, rope climbs, and then squats and deadlifts to test the compression of the outsole. We'll start with the squats and deadlifts. I squatted up to about 275 and I deadlifted around 365. I did multiple for reps and I really tried to bounce my heels and see if they compressed at all. I didn't notice much compression at all, and so if you're thinking about using these for, let's say, a more hybrid or a casual CrossFit workout where you're gonna be loading up some weight but not maybe going maximal weight, I think these are gonna be a good fit for you. In terms of box jumps, I like them very much. I like the wave-like material. It helped really give that nice stick and like dart feeling on the box. I never felt like I was sliding off or I was losing grip. In terms of lateral and sprinting movements, again, the additional toe lip up here and the wave-like texture help kind of drive through the toe. And I like that the base here has a little bit of a flared out kind of texture to it. I think that helps in lateral movements, especially when stopping and then driving back the other way. These are speed designed shoes, so it makes sense that their outsole is designed to help these movements. In terms of rope climbs, were they the best shoes I've ever tried in terms of cross-training shoes for ropes? Not so much. The material is a little bit slicker than, let's say, in the Nano or other cross-training models where they have the additional midsole coming up. But in terms of preventing my actual rope climb, they didn't really do such a bad job at that. They just weren't the best on the market that I've tried. So if you're gonna use these for rope climbs and you really rely on your feet, I would keep that in mind. But in terms of performance across the board, I think they perform pretty well, and I think you'll be pretty happy if you need these for speed training. So when it comes to pros with the Reebok Speed TR, I like three things about this shoe. Number one, I like the outsole and the midsole. The EVA midsole is a little bit more squishy than the Reebok Nano midsole, and I think it adds a little bit of a cushion for the heel strike and doing different kinds of jumping movements. Also the outsole, it's pretty tough, so it actually resists any kind of compression. So I think it's a nice balance between something that's a little bit more hard like a Nano and then something a little bit more squishy for like a more running oriented shoe. Next, I like the Cordura material. It's super stretchy, it feels very resistant to abrasion. I think it's gonna last a while, and it has that reinforced heel clip in the back. It doesn't protrude from the shoe like the Nano, so if that kind of bothers you with the Nano model, that could be a perk for you in this, that there is an additional heel support, but it doesn't come off the shoe. My last pro with the Reebok Speed TR is the price. The price comes around $80 to $100, so that's $30 less than your standard Nano. That is like the most released Nano. Obviously some of the older models will be a little bit docked in price, but if you're looking for a solid cross-training shoe that has a fair price, I think the Reebok Speed TR could be a good fit for you. One potential con I could see athletes having with the Reebok Speed TR is the outsole. So I like the outsole. It's a little bit more compressible than, let's say, the Reebok Nano, but that being said, if you're trying to do maximal Olympic movements or maximal squat in the shoe and you need a super stable outsole, it might not be the best fit for you. It's gonna work for a lot of athletes, and I don't think you're gonna have a big performance issue with it, but it is something to kind of keep in mind that if you're looking for full stability, the Reebok Speed TR may not be the best fit for you. So one thing I like about this model is the price. For this model, you can expect to pay around $80 to $100. The standard is around $80 right now for the Reebok Speed TR. I think that's a pretty fair price for what this shoe has to offer. It's a nice hybrid model in between a hardcore cross-training shoe and something like a running shoe. So if you're kind of that hybrid athlete who likes to do both, the price is right on the money for you. That concludes my review of the Reebok Speed TR. I like the construction of the shoe and I liked how it performed across the board. I did have one potential con. To read my full thoughts, click on the link below or search Reebok Speed TR and BarBend. If you like this shoe review and you want to see others, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.